I have never had a career path. I graduated from a liberal arts college in the 70s, went there for 4 years, and then I started volunteering at this new organization called Deborah's Place. And I had met the executive director. One day she said, "Would you like to come and work at Deborah's Place?" So I did. I started out my employment here as a substitute staff at the emergency overnight shelter, and then in 1986, they acquired a base in Westtown to open a daytime shelter. So Martha said, "Do you want to run that?" So I said, "Sure." Deborah's Place always was housing first. We just didn't have the language for it. A lot of shelters had a lot of stipulations for people to stay, but even from the days of the emergency overnight shelter and the daytime shelter, at that point our shelter was just mattresses on the floor. The thought was, women don't need to do anything to come in here. They're tired. They've been out on the street all day. And what they had to do for survival is build walls around themselves. For women, there was just this, their home was those bags that they carried, from overnight shelters to daytime shelters to, on the street, and they had them with them all the time. So that really was the genesis of Deborah's Place, was a group of women who saw that women were not prioritized and were not valued. Our goal is to bring women in and treat them as guests. The spirit of housing first, that people don't have to be sober, people don't have to address their mental health issues, people don't need to have employment in order to deserve a place to live. It was just really built into the DNA of the organization from the beginning. And then as we started supportive housing, that just carried over into supportive housing. Changes that I have seen within the organization over time is just a maturation and a growth. Also understanding early on that what we were doing with our emergency shelter and our daytime shelter was really a Band-Aid. Like, yes, we were making sure that women were safe during this period of time and this period of time, but what then? So when the opportunity came to provide supportive housing and develop supportive housing or transitional housing, we said, yes, how can we do this? And through a process of strategic planning, that we really began to focus on what are our core competencies? What do we do really, really well? And what we do is services and relationship building. Having really good governance and stellar board members and strong, committed staff and loyal donors. That is the kind of foundation that Deborah's Place has achieved, that has allowed us this kind of growth that we've experienced in the last few years. When I reflect back on my tenure, I think, what more could I have done to create more housing or bring more women in off the street or advocate more? But really, I've never thought of it as a job. Deborah's Place has always been my vocation. Nothing else has ever called to me. I just think of it as building this wonderful, creative, dynamic organization. Helps me to maintain a perspective that I'm just not this singular person in the world, that I am part of a broader community. I have to thank certainly every board member. Every one of them has been nothing but supportive and encouraging and helped me to grow and think about things in a different way. Kathy Bouton Wilson, who has been my work wife for 35 years, 36 years. I've had some really wonderful mentors, a woman named Mary Whalen. There are so many people that have done that, so many women that have done that over the years. And I hope I have been able to do that in kind. When I think about a new CEO coming in, I would say to them, just always err on the side of kindness. The fact that Deborah's Place is seen as such a wonderful organization and has a great reputation in the city, right? You have to work at those things. You can't take anything for granted. And I hope that my legacy is, a culture of housing first, continuing that, and the importance of being with women where they are, not where we want them to be or society thinks they should be. It's our job to keep offering them the opportunities to help them envision a future for themselves that's beyond survival. And then I also think of erring on the side of kindness. So I think, Deborah's Place is up for the challenge.